We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started. Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler. It's time for another edition of the Patrick Stanton Show. Currently joined by Wheeling University head cross country coach Patrick Stanton. And Patrick, you guys are now getting ready for the MEC Championships. You've had tough races throughout the fall. You had YSU, Live the Lou Cross Country Classic, Edinburgh most recently. Talk about these races and kind of the competition, how it prepared you for what you're going to see this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a good schedule for us. We've seen a lot of the conference schools already, which is helpful. We've seen Glenville multiple times. We've seen Charleston multiple times. We've seen Wesleyan multiple times, and so on. So we have a little bit of just kind of those visual matchups in the race, which I think helps a lot. We got the opportunity to run on a fast course like Louisville. YSU, we weren't really sure what it was going to be like. It's a brand new meet. Ended up being a slower day, but it was still good competition, good experience. And then Edinburgh, which we also never been before. We didn't know what to expect from it, but it was a perfect day. A little bit of a rolling, hilly course, but it was beautiful weather. It ended up being a pretty good day for us. I think the big thing is we've just learned a lot from each race. We, in my opinion, started out the year kind of rough at the West Lib Invite and then have gradually gotten better and better and better. And I think at Edinburgh, easily on the men's and women's side, we had our best day as a team. So I think we're trending in the right direction and ready to peak at the right time.
And starting with the men's side, you've had all three of your main runners really succeed this year. You had Magnus Polkner be a top runner. I think all three have been top runners this year. Talk about those guys and kind of how they've evolved.
Yeah, it's been awesome to have those three form a training group like they have. On the men's side, we really haven't had a group like that in a while. We've had good runners, but in workouts and in races, they're kind of on their own islands. Whereas like Magnus, Hunter, and Shane, they can really train and work together throughout the race. And at Edinburgh, I think we had our fastest top three men that we've had in several years. Especially that third runner coming in as fast as he did. So they push each other well, especially Shane and Hunter really kind of complement each other's strengths and weaknesses well. They're kind of the inverse of each other, but they match up really well in workouts. So they know they can keep up with each other, and they just kind of help push each other through the parts of the race where the other struggles the most. And Magnus has just been like a steady rock. So he kind of sets the tone as far as that goes as well.
And then on the women's side, you have the top three veteran runners in Gabby, Sydney, and Sophia, who have all been through a season before. How has that experience helped them as they get ready for this championship?
Just from a culture standpoint, they're just so tight-knit. They are so close. I meet with the distance runners individually once a week and just kind of talk about training and like how things are going. And if there's a race, we talk a little strategy. And I always ask, how are things going with the girls? How are things going with the guys? Like whatever. The girls, it's automatic. They hang out all the time. They're best friends. So just having that experience where they know each other, they trust each other, it helps a lot. And they really care about, the success of the whole team because they really care about each other.
And along with the meets, you've had the last kind of week off to kind of recoup and get ready for this race. What do you do during those non-race weeks to get you ready for when you get back in action?
Just focus on training. We kind of prioritize 2 hard efforts per week. And if we're racing, then the race is one of those efforts. So we only have one other workout. So on those non-race weeks, we're able to attack the workouts a little bit harder. We get a more intentional type of day rather than a race. We can go a little bit harder on our long run on Sunday. So it just gives us a little bit more opportunity. This time of year, more specifically these last couple of weeks, it gives us an opportunity to just kind of sharpen things up a little bit.
Currently joined by Wheeling University head cross country coach Patrick Stanton. And Patrick, talk about this field you're going to see at the MEC Championships. Obviously a lot of great competition throughout the conference. Talk about the field and kind of some of the things you're seeing.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is what we've been seeing for the last several years. Just the MEC is getting deeper and deeper, more and more competitive. It used to be the case that there's 1 or 2 pretty good teams, and then 1 or 2 average teams, and then some teams that aren't really putting it together. Now I feel like from top to bottom, the whole conference has very strong coaching and very strong distance runners from top to bottom. Every team's got somebody who can be a threat. So it's just gotten a lot deeper. It takes a lot more to be like a top 10, top 20 type of athlete in this conference than it did, 3-4 years ago. The top end, I think there's still that kind of talent. Elkins is a top 25 team in the country on the men's side. Their women are probably flirting with that line. Charleston's kind of flirting with that line on the men's side. So we still kind of have that top end talent in the conference, but it's just a lot deeper than it's ever been.
And from our talks in the past, Oglebay is one of the hillier courses you guys face throughout the year. Talk about how your athletes are going to handle those hills as they come and compete in this championship event.
Yeah, we should be ready for them. It's something we've been really intentional about in our training all year long. Our guys especially, just like on their regular runs where I don't tell them where to go, they can go wherever they want. They attack the hills. They go up like a mile-long hill up at Boggs or Oakmont, some of the more like infamous hilly runs that we have here in Wheeling. They do that voluntarily. They want to be ready. We worked out at the Oglebay course. We worked out at Wheeling Park. We worked out at some places that can really challenge us at Oakmont. So we should be ready, I think more ready than most of the teams in the conference because this course is in our backyard. The guys can go up and run at Oglebay any day they want. So they've seen the course. They're familiar with it. Really, we just want to approach it by not being fazed by it. We acknowledge that it's going to be hard. It's probably going to be one of the hardest races that we've run this year. But we're not letting that scare us. We're not letting that turn us off. We're not going to overcompensate by sprinting up the hills. We're not going to go into our shell and hide from the hills. We're just going to stay steady and consistent and just keep a steady momentum throughout the race.
And finally, talk about some of your team goals for this event. Obviously, guys are getting better, getting deeper. What are some of your goals for this championship event?
We got a couple of teams that we want to match up well against. I think that realistically we could have a good shot to upset a few teams. I think if you just kind of rank out the conference based on season best times, we're at a certain spot. But I think that we can move up quite a bit from those spots on both sides. In cross country, the times don't tell the whole story, even more so than track. So we want to move up as a team. We want to finish a couple spots higher than we're probably predicted. I think we were ranked, 9th or 10th in the preseason polls on both sides. So we want to move up from those spots. And then, individually, we've got some people who've got some big goals. We, without putting the pressure on them or putting them publicly on the spot, we've got some people, in Sydney and, on the guys' side, Hunter, Shane, and Magnus, who they want to be involved in the award ceremony. Whether that's second team all conference in the top 20 or first team all conference in the top 10. They've got that on their sights. And on a race like the MEC Championship, at a course like Oglebay, really anything can happen, and the toughest are going to survive. So I think they're just ready to go in and try to be the toughest.
Thanks, Patrick. Good luck this weekend. Can't wait to see you out there.
Cool. Thanks, Zach.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler.
We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started. Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.